Hello, everybody. Let's welcome our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Goldy Locks.
Wow, you're so enthusiastic. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. But where can they find you on your social media platform?
Wow, right off the bat, this guy knows his stuff. It's Goldy, Goldy, Goldy Locks, rocks that's on Twitter and Instagram. Goldy Locks rocks, Goldy with a Y. I would really appreciate the follow and thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. The name just sounds cool. It's just like, when I was a kid, I would read the book, the Goldy Locks, the bears and all that. But what came up with that nickname?
It's actually a really interesting story. There's an artist that is out, and I'll go back to before there was American Idol and The Voice and all these gimmick shows that they have now. They used to have one called Showstoppers and then Star Search. Okay, so it wasn't really televised. Well, yeah, Star Search was televised, but like all the turning around of the chairs and all that, it was just like, in some big auditorium that was dark and gloomy. Well, anyway, I got to hang out with this one boy that I kept seeing all the time, but I was from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he was from Yuba City, California. And we would run into each other at all of these promotions. And I guess he kind of became my boyfriend at the time, before he probably figured out what direction he was going to go in later in life. But at the time, I looked pretty good. So we became pen pals. And he used to always send these letters to me with the magazine ransom note cut out, Goldy Locks. And he just called me Goldilocks. People in the neighborhood called me Goldilocks because I had long kind of sandy blonde hair and I'd break and enter and eat a lot of food and things other than porridge. But it really started to be sealed when this boy would send all this mail to my house. Well, lo and behold, I looked him up later on, like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. And at the same time, there was this great song by Sia, and it was called Chandelier. Do you remember that song? Remember Chandelier? I want to fly.
I want to fly
like a chandelier. Yeah, it was awesome, right? And so if you look up the video for it, it's really different and interesting. It's this beautiful young girl who's in like a flesh-colored leotard, and she's just like doing these really weird, strange, innovative dance moves in like looks like a rundown New York like apartment or something like that. And it's continuous. So they follow her through the living room and through the bathroom and she's going through the whole maze of a place. Well, I was always fascinated by the song and the video. It was so crazy is when I looked up this guy that used to call me Goldilocks and send me, his name's Ryan Heffington. Well, who comes up as the choreographer for that video? It was him. So, we all do our different things and we go our different paths. But I would love to see him again and say, look what your name that you called me sparked. Because it's been on Impact Wrestling, TNA, TLC's Cheapskates, Calling the Cheapskates, CMT, Ted Nugent, Running Wild from Ted Nugent, like the Talk. Like I've been on all these shows all as me, Goldilocks. And that's all from some cool little boy that I met back in the day. And now he's just doing like huge things. And I'm so proud of him. So that's where I got my name from. It's pretty cool.
It's a really good nickname, very catchy. And plus you got the Goldie hair and it's pretty locked. And then what led you to TNA? Like that's the interesting part. What really got you into TNA?
A lawyer for my music career said there's a wrestling promotion in Hendersonville, Tennessee. There's this dad and son, the Jarretts. They've got a construction company and they're putting together this new wrestling promotion. And it would be really good for your music career as a cross promotion. And I knew a little bit about wrestling, but nothing about the business. I guess they were looking for somebody fresh, green, good in entertainment, but like somebody that wasn't in the world of wrestling. And I just remember flying from Beverly Hills to Hendersonville, Tennessee, and taking a cab back then. That was 20 years ago. And showing up and just like, they were really nice, but it was kind of like, I think they were trying to intimidate me and I wasn't about to be intimidated because they kept showing me like, hey, you see this coffee table full of, it was all like 8.5 by 11 or a little bit bigger. So it'd be the 9 by 12 yellow mustardy manila envelopes. They were about this thick, yay thick, with a resume stapled to the back of an 8x10 glossy. And there was like all these, it's like, see all these women, they were opening them and saying, all these women want your job. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool, bro. But like, I don't see any of those women in here today. Like, I'm the one that got on a plane and hopped on a flight, and came to see you, and I want this job. And then I think I came 2 or 3 more times before I actually got the job. And I don't know. I think I hear now in hindsight that maybe my lawyer just sealed that deal and pressured them so badly. I thought, I just showed up and really persuaded them. But I'm pretty sure she was like, yeah, you need to ink the deal with her. So, it's who you know. And that's one route. And then I see, I saw a lot of these girls growing up, like Mickey James and Angela. Is it Angela? What's her name?
Angela Love or something?
I know,
Angelina Love.
Angelina. I didn't want to say Angela. She has different gimmick names. So Angelina, I used to see both of those girls just gurming around backstage. And I used to always think like, what do they think that they're going to really get a job? Yep. Do they think they're really going to get a job hanging around, knocking on all these doors? And you know what? I freaking love it because I walked in the easy way. I had it handed to me. But those girls, you see what somebody who doesn't have it handed to them, you see the wax on, the wax off, the paint the fence, the constant work, the showing up, the indie shows for $25, $50 a night, this, that, and the next thing. You see how that perseverance pays off because those 2 women are legendary in the business and they deserve it. So, that's how I got my start, the easy way. Not totally easy, but pretty easy compared to what they had.
But the confidence, you felt very confident about it. That's what it was. Like when you went towards that door and you went towards them and say that you're interested, but your lawyer got the deal done. But it's all about confidence.
It was a lot about confidence, but no different than Angelina Love or Mickey or Trinity. They all had a ton of confidence,
there was a wrestler that I actually interviewed like a year ago who was on a storyline with you, Eric Watts. I had him on. What was it like working with that guy?
Eric Watts, I just saw him the other day. We met for some Starbucks in Atlanta, and then I told him I had a show coming up with our band. Check us out, Goldy with a Y, locksband.com.
Oh, you got a band.
Yeah. So we had a show in McDonough, Georgia, and he showed up. But I didn't tell him. I said, you got to come. But I didn't tell him that I invited Elix Skipper as well. But I didn't tell Elix that I invited Eric Watts. And it was just a shit show. Everybody there was like, what's going on? It was so loud. They were so obnoxious and just partying hard all night long. It was so flippin' wonderful because again, all the normal people there that they don't know who these guys are. Because when they saw each other, it's been 20 years, when they saw each other, it was on. It was such a magical night. So I had the best experience with both of those guys, with almost all the guys, actually. And Eric was just always trying to help me out where a lot of the guys weren't, or they just kind of brushed me away and thought she should know more than she does. Hi, Goldy. Hello. I don't have my glasses on, Raphael.
Yeah, but I guess I just leave.
That's so cool. He was so helpful and really wanted to help me shine. He was fantastic to be in the ring with, fantastic to do promos with. I love him. I love him dearly till the end of time. We're still friends to this day. I'm friends with a lot of people from that time.
Oh yeah, Eric Watts was a very good storyteller, and the way he kind of explained, he was a very humble individual.
He's very humble.
Very humble as far because his dad they were thinking he was handed the spoon because of his dad, but he said that he had to prove himself a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
But you look at Jeff Jarrett, he earned the right? He got where he got to be, but everybody's saying it's because his dad. Nah, I think Jeff Jarrett had all the it factor, if I'm being honest.
Oh, Jeff's a business guy. First and foremost, he's a businessman. I've been around him for years. He's always looking to the next thing. He's always hustling. He's always on the future. Just anything in the future, he's going to have his hand on the pulse. But first and foremost, businessman. He's a great wrestler. He's a great storyteller.
Great heel.
Great at psychology, bringing everybody together. The best thing that I can say about Jeff Jarrett is he knows talent when he sees it. He's not threatened by talent. Obviously, Jeff, he must have a big dick because you got no problems. He's not threatened by anything. He's something. he sees something good or working, and he let me run with it. There was not one veto or one no. You can. I don't know if that's because of they were just like so busy they didn't really know what I was doing. But I mean, week after week when I was doing crazy shit, they let me do it because it was working. There was no power plays with him. He's really good at bringing out the best in talent by sometimes just leaving them alone and letting them do what they do. Other people have to be like, oh, I have to, it's all about me. And I got to put my dad calls it, oh, look at me dancing. And it's a reference to the old Popeye cartoons with Olive Oil. Olive Oil always wanted everybody to see her like, oh, look at me dancing. She used to say, and it was all look at me, look at me, look at me. And so many people are like, oh, you're really talented, but I don't want to just let you do what you do. I have to figure out something to change something so that I can say I did this. Where a powerful person with a great self-esteem and confidence and a good business person will just say, all right, I already hired this person. So I put my oomph behind it, my stamp of approval. Now they're doing some really cool, innovative stuff. I'm just going to let them be. If anything starts to, stray or go off track a little bit, I'll reel them in. But if they're not doing anything wrong, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. And that's what I can definitely say about Jeff is he was really, as I look at a picture of him on the wall, he was really, really good about letting people do what they did when it was working. And if they needed a little guidance, come in and say something constructive, but never with like an ego behind it. And I don't have time for that. Like I puff up I don't like when people are, it's like, eh.
Yeah, I mean,
you froze. One of us froze. Okay, here we're back. Yep.
No, TNA was just becoming their own promotion. It was like there since the 2002s or something. So it started to grow. They had the NWA title. So, I think Jeff Jarrett was looking to improve, put the competition up a little. The WWE was starting to become more of a PG era. And I think TNA had the ability to do something different. So I think that's what stood out. Like, you looked at a lot of the talents, you had guys that you even had some work at, like in those storylines, those segments. You had some with Tony Schiavone. I thought that was one of the craziest promos I've seen.
I look back at that. I didn't even know it was. They didn't tell me a lot of stuff. That was one of the strategies with the early office and management is that we were left in the dark on a lot of things on purpose so that we didn't speculate or ask too many questions, and it just hit us raw and it hit us real. And what you were seeing was a real reaction. So I didn't know what Tony Schiavone was going to say. He just came out and said all that stuff. So a lot of my reactions, all of my reactions were completely sincere. There was nothing acting about that or like when people criticize me or say this or that, like at least you were getting something completely 1000% authentic and real. Like it was all real reactions. Like that's how I really felt. Like my facials, like I was really put out, really disgusted and really annoyed by a lot of people.
Yeah, and the way it kind of went into it was organic, and it just seemed like the real reaction. You just came up like you were just surprised, but then you just didn't see it coming. But there was no scripts on that. It was more like they came in with some shoot. Like you saw with Roddy Piper getting shoots out of Vince Russo also, which I thought was actually just more of a segment. But once I found out it was actually a shoot between those two.
Totally.
Like when Roddy Piper was there, was that kind of like an interesting like segment right there? He just came in and just came at Russo. Like,
yeah, a lot of stuff was. I mean, even back with Eric Watts, like, I mean, I won't say who, but I guess somebody in the company was feeding Eric's then wife that we were having an affair for real. She was legitimately super hot at me and hated me. And I thought that she was going to kill me in the ring. Like I thought she was going to show up at the ring with a knife or with something to like mutilate or hurt me. And then I found out later on that a certain person at the company was feeding her that so that what you saw was really real. And maybe she did come at me. So I was ready. Like I literally was having a panic attack the day that I knew she was going to come into the ring. I knew she was going to attack me, but I was pretty convinced that she was going to actually try to like murder me. Like, no kidding. Like that was legit fear. Yeah, that's legit. Like you don't know about that stuff, but I really was sweating it. Like I thought I better be on my guard because this woman has been told by somebody, which I didn't find out till after I was out of TNA, that she was being fed. Oh, Goldie and Eric have something really going on off screen, which is the furthest thing from the truth. That never happened.
I mean, that was just like building up like gossip type of stuff. Like, oh,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Same thing with
and
Piper.
you feed off of those Kardashian dramas and all that stuff, and whatever the real reality shows. I mean, they were trying to feed you off as that hated heel from her. She just, like, oh, you trying to hit on my husband, like, and even though it wasn't true, but it got
No,
you to be a real, like, a heated heel.
no. When I would go out in public in the Nashville area to eat when I was in town, because I was living in Los Angeles, like people would spit on me and come up to me and want to start a fight. Women would and call me a whore and just say you're a slut and you're a homewrecker um because on TV I was Eric's girlfriend and there wasn't a storyline with Georgie Watts yet. So, but they looked him up and they knew from the wrestling rags that, he was married and they just really thought we were really together. So it was really interesting. I'm like, I stopped going out. I remember it was Outback and Hermitage,
It was a
Tennessee.
believable storyline. It was very believable if you think
Yeah.
about it. Like if you think about it, like Aaron is a little older, and maybe he thinks he got a little in his game a little bit, but then you think, no, it's not real. Come on,
He was
like
great.
yeah, he was like a very great worker, and I liked a lot of his scenes from WCW. And then when he started coming in TNA, that's when he started to do his own thing. But the thing is, he was never getting over, but he tried to put over other wrestlers.
No, he did. He was great. He really, really was great. He'll be a friend till the end. Cherish him always.
Yeah, great guy. I talk to him every now and then, but I think he's a very busy guy, but I don't get a chance to talk to him as much. But I remember in the early parts when I had him on my show, he was giving me some story details of what happened. He was giving me the explanation of why this scene happened. Like the one with Arn Anderson, I think was one of his best work.
Yes.
He beats him at the gas station, and they actually thought the real police were gonna the police thought it was legit. That's how he made it look legit.
It's pretty good. I have that clip was actually on my podcast on Russo's brand, Goldie's Closet. And when I interviewed Eric, I showed the clip of Arn Anderson. So yeah, that's an epic, legendary clip.
Yeah, even though he didn't win in those big titles, but I think that would probably be one of his memorable like feuds. Like he had like a short feud with Arn Anderson. But when you look at most of the work, I mean, you were an interviewer, you had your own group of people, you had like I think you were part of a stable group, right?
I don't know what that means. Like, tell me what stable you mean.
Like like those people in the tag teams, they work as like teams.
Yeah.
Like those stable factions.
I know, but who would you think was my stable then?
It would either be sometimes Eric Watts and then quite a few other.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Well, then yes, yeah. I kind of floated around. I hung with a lot of different people with a lot of different storylines. So yeah, Sonny Siaki for a while.
Yeah, there was quite a few of those little storylines where you were just getting all these other wrestlers were messing with you on those interviews, but then you were kind of like, like you're you just funny. Yeah, funny, but the funny part about TNA was you were just the foundation. From there, you were just interviewing. I mean, I guess they were given the opportunity, but you know who kind of criticized you? I don't know how you would take criticism, but Dutch Mantel actually
I've seen it. It's hysterical.
Like, what's your thoughts of him?
Oh, I tag him all the time. Like I tag him in promos that I post from the old days and just say, look at this brilliant Dutch Mantel. Yeah. What's funny is ever since I met Dutch Mantel, I always like heard stories of him and I thought he was amazing. I loved what he brought to the office. He always had a calm. Yeah. Fucking tag this. Would you go ahead and just promo this? Dutch Mantel. What are my thoughts? Always a calm force backstage. Always somebody that people looked up to in the office. Always brought a lot of history, help understanding psychology, lots of wisdom to the business. Cool and collective, and an overall just nice guy. Those are my thoughts on Dutch Mantel. I think it's really hysterical how I people send me clips of things that he says about me, and I just have nothing but great things to say about the guy. Like, it's just it's funny to me like that he's that upset about the thing is so I have a Patreon and we all know what that is, and I like absolutely love and adore these people that are on there, and I didn't even know what it was. I just remember during the first month of COVID, Russo was like, "Yo, bro, you got to do a Patreon." I'm like, I don't even know what that is. It's like OnlyFans. I don't do all that stuff. No, just you could do music. You could like talk about the early days. You can, bro, you could just do anything. You would be over on Patreon. I sound like Vince Russo and Arnold Schwarzenegger merged in. Yeah, it's cool.
Exactly.
I just remember doing it and meeting these like some of these people I've been on for 3 years, and like I know like every freaking part of their lives, and I adore them and I love these people. I love them. And then on Russo's brand with my podcast, like I've gotten to know like thousands of people on there. So if all of these people are just on their own, what's the word when you objectively, non-objectively, there's a word I can't think of it, but it's basically when somebody does something on their own without your prompt. If they're just, what's it called?
It's independent, right? Aren't they independent?
It's another word. It's like they call the radio station, calls your house, and they want to get an unobjective opinion on a song or this or that. You do it blank. You're giving it blank. I just get tired and my brain conks out, but it's something like that. Like on their own merit, they reach out to me and say, I really like this, or I really like, and it's like, and my dad always said, Moon, you know, money talks and bullshit walks, and put your money where your mouth is. So if people are paying money every month to be a part of a Patreon to support what was a career that I had 20 years ago, like how bad was I, Dutch? And it's not all sexy on my Patreon. It's a lot of like sisterly love and whatnot. I just wonder if people from all over the globe reach out and say, your reactions were authentically funny, or I loved what you did with the dups, or I loved the angle with this, that, or the next thing. And I don't ask them to reach out to me. And there's plenty of chicks with bigger tits and nicer asses than me. So it's not like, oh, you're a girl and you're pretty. I'm not 20 anymore. It's like they're reaching out saying, I just discovered this, or I just found you and I remembered you from. So if I sucked that badly, I don't think people would want to patronize or support. And the thing is I don't give a shit. Like I'm pretty chill. I do the best job that I can. I'm a pretty freaking happy person. I'm pretty positive. I always try to see the golden lining and everything. Like there's always a new day. Do a ton of stuff with mental health, suicide prevention. Like I'm always just trying to remind people, like if you had a shitty day yesterday, or even this morning, or even right now, in a minute, it's going to be, the future is coming around, and that's now the present. Like hang in there and it's going to get better. And the stuff that I've heard him say, I was just like, dude, do you need a hug? Like, how sad are you? Like, I wasn't that bad. Yeah, I had a lot to learn and was kind of arrogant and thought I knew a lot of things, but I didn't completely suck, or I wouldn't have been around that long. So whatever, say what you want. It's funny to me because if we go back to the beginning of my promo here, whatever, what the fuck am I calling it? Go back to the beginning of my, God, girl, I'm tired as shit. Go back to
your interview,
the promo I'm cutting on Dutch.
Yeah.
Again, go back to what I initially said. Calm, great guy in the office, tons of experience and wisdom. Like I have nothing bad to say about Dutch Mantel. I think he's brilliant. I keep inviting him to come on my show. He can talk some shit to me and teach me how to get better. Maybe I can learn something from him.
Yeah, he was on Kenny Boland's show like not that long ago. I mean,
yeah,
I had Kenny on 2 different occasions. Really good guy.
Yeah, he seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, Kenny can be something else. I mean, then you got Jim Cornette, who they're not in good terms, but I'm pretty sure you worked with Jim Cornette before, right?
I don't think that I have. I don't think I've worked with Jim. And again, personally, I have nothing against Jim Cornette, but here's how I roll. So I'm kind of old school with this. And when you were talking about stables and whatnot, not a staple, a stable. So for me, I'm a big person on loyalty. Like I won't get online and bash Jim Cornette or say anything negative about him because I've never met him personally. And I don't have any interactions, and you have to give people the benefit of the doubt and create your own story and transactions with them. But
it goes by experience how you met it. Like if you had good interaction, there's a difference. But if you never interact, that's like, okay, I don't know much about the person, so I can't speak on behalf of that.
I will say that I do have a lot going on with Vince Russo. Vince has been my friend for almost 20 years. Vince has had me over to his home. Vince has introduced me to his wife and his kids. I'm friends with his kids. I'm on his brand. Vince has employed me for the last how many years? Vince has been really good to me. Vince has kicked me bonuses. Vince is the first person on Christmas morning to send a PayPal over saying Merry Christmas. Vince was the one when my cat died, when I was doing promos, and the veterinarian clinic was trying to say, we need to send your cat to a hospital. It's going into cardiac arrest. It's dying. And I was too busy on live TV, and I didn't get the message until it's too late. Your cat has passed away. Let us know if you want it to be cremated or you want to pick it up. And I was like literally hysterical backstage in the asylum and the Nashville fairgrounds, just sobbing, crying my eyes out. And it was Vince Russo who sat me down on a chair and got down on his knees and put his hand on my back and was stroking my hair. And he's, oh, yo, it's going to be okay. I like Eric Watts, and he brought over all of his Atlanta boys, and they were like, it's going to be okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take you to Hooters, and we're going to go to Hooters, and we're going to get you anything you want. Like, that was Vince's way of like fixing my dead cat situation.
He was a cheer up.
Take me to Hooters with all the boys, and we'll get some wings because I didn't drink, and some water or some soda and some wings, and it's going to be okay. So my point is Vince has been there for me for all of these years. I know he's had a lot of run-ins with Cornette. I know Vince is a hothead. I know, but the stories that I've been told about Cornette and some of the things that he's done and said to Vince, I know Vince really well. I know there's two sides to the story, or three, or whatever you want to call it. But some of the things that Cornette has said to him seem to be like kind of going for the jugular or unnecessary. Like they were low blows. How about that? Personal low blows. Yeah, so when I hear somebody giving like personal low blows, that paints a little bit of a picture to me. Now, if I ran in a gym, I would be cordial and nice, but he's going to know I'm a part of Russo's camp, and I probably don't like him. I would never be mean or throw him under the bus or cruel. But again, my loyalty will always be with Vince Russo because he's fucking been really good to me, and he's been a great friend. And I don't care what you can say or put in front of me or lure me. I don't shit on friends, and I don't betray friends. And even if they betray me, then I just cut them out of my life and go on to another chapter. But I'm not going to spend energy like bashing them. So that's my take on them. That's such a cool word that you use, stable. I'm going to remember that one.
Okay, yeah, because they have a stable group. It's stable faction, but all a bunch of stuff like
stable, like a stable, like a barn stable, or stable, like it's
like they have a thing with group of stables. Like you have 4 members, and it's like a faction. Like
okay.
Yeah, like you know, like NWO, they had so many stable factions, so many members. That's what I meant. That's stable.
Okay, I got it. Well, then I would be proud to be in one with Eric and some of those other guys. Even the Dups, I look at like Trevor Murdoch now. I'm just like, what is this? Like, oh, my heart just blows up with joy seeing this guy like finally getting his freaking day. Oh, I love it on Billy Corgan's promotion with NWA. Like, just seeing this guy get the title, and I know he just feels like $1 million, and he's a wrestler for the everyday person. You know, he's just got his niche, and I just love that guy. He'll be a dear friend till the end of time as well.
Oh, Trevor Murdoch came a long way. He was a tag team. He was a tag team specialist in the beginning, but he had potential, and then he started showcasing it more. But now the current champion, it used to be the Brodus Clay guy. Now I don't know what he goes by now. Is it Tyrus or something?
I don't know what he goes by now either. I thought it was just Trevor. I thought it was his name.
No, that was another guy. Trevor Murdoch was the other wrestler that was a tag team specialist, but the other one they called Tyrus, I believe. But he
I see what you're saying. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he's like the current NWA champion, and then EC3. That's an intriguing one. I always thought he had the best gimmick. He just never been utilized properly.
I can see that.
Yeah, like he had that arrogant, cocky character where he said that he's a Carter and you need a Carter or something like that. And it was just like, I guess he was like the storyline of Dixie Carter's nephew, but wasn't the reality, you know?
I'm looking him up right now.
Yeah, because he was over on TNA. He was like their top wrestler at the time.
Yeah, no, I mean, he looks like the epitome of what a wrestler should look like.
Yeah, like he was definitely.
Was it Dixie's nephew?
No, it was a storyline. I don't think it was legit. I think that's what
Okay.
got him. Yeah, he was in a debut, and she just said, "I'm gonna introduce my nephew" or something like that. And I guess the mystery opponent that whatever Dixie was punishing the opponent with, she said, "I'm gonna have you face my nephew" or something like that.
Okay, I like it.
But were you around when Dixie Carter came or not?
Absolutely, yeah. I
What
got
was she
fired
like?
after that.
I
What's
mean,
that?
what was she like working with at one point?
I still talk to Dixie from time to time. She's always been very supportive to my face. I never know what she says behind my back, but I know that she shows up and is always really supportive. I was at her house a couple of years ago with a business idea. She was really open about trying to help me with some contacts and some colleagues. She's always been really, really good to me. So again, and I say, I don't know what she says behind my back just because I think everything is gravy. And then I hear like these interviews coming out with Dutch Mantel, just like, what, dude, I'm like so small on the totem pole. Like, why even take the time to like that's a little odd. So she's always been great. Always been great to me. Her husband, Serge Carter, he wrote the theme song for Dixie's Man and Me, and I sang it. And I sang and wrote a lot of the entrance music during the early days of TNA for a lot of the men and women that work there. So the whole Carter family has been really cool to me. The mom and dad were always really nice to me. The money holders, like they were great. Everybody was cool to me.
I mean, despite your career, at least you had a presence in that company when they were first beginning. So you were
Oh yeah.
you can at least take pride and say, "Hey, I was a part of when they first started," and they're still currently there. So it's like,
Absolutely. Nope. I did a lot to help that company, and I'd be the first person to say it, and I know other people would too. Dutch Mantel, what's your problem?
and the funny part is, like, you even said a legit fact. Like, if you weren't so relevant, then how come there's some people still reaching out to you? Like myself, I've reached out to you because I know you're relevant. I know the
This is
name.
my fourth podcast today, bro. I've already done two
You're
this
such a
morning.
big deal.
No, I'm not a big deal. I'm just saying
Let's play.
if I suck so bad, then why am I on 4 pods today? And again, I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying, first off, I still look pretty fucking good. No offense, but I still take good care of myself now. I'm in the midst of getting like in the best physical shape of my life. So I want to look better than I even did on TNA. So I still look good. I'm articulate. I'm exhausted because I'm always touring and I've got some other things that I'm doing where I'm getting about 4 hours of sleep every night. So like during our interview, I'm forgetting stuff because I'm literally trying to not fall asleep, and I got to keep on going. I got to keep on going. Got to jump on a flight tonight. So I still look good. I'm still relevant. I'm still articulate. Always have been. Always will be. And I don't know what my point on that. I guess I'm just putting myself over. I'm just saying, like, if I suck so bad, then yeah, whatever. It's all good.
I mean.
Do you see how upset I am by
Yeah, and you even just said you were on 4 appearances, and it includes mine. Like, come on, like. I think that proves that you're too relevant.
No, but it's my joy and it's an honor. And that's another thing. Like, I didn't realize I did them. I did podcasts when I was on TNA. But one of the things that I like to tell people that are up and coming is any opportunity that you have to cross promote somebody else's show and their brand, then do it, because like, okay, so when I have people on my podcast, I'm not paying them. Rarely do people get paid for a podcast unless they're like top of the top. And then they're getting like, because I know Hannibal sometimes for his podcast, he's got to pay like 100, 150 to $250, $100 to get some of these guests
for some wrestlers. Yeah.
For some of the legends, because he's going to get a lot of views and he's going to get revenue and his ROI is going to be calculated instantaneously and he's going to be good. But I'm not paying guests to be on my show, nor are you paying me to be on my show. So let's just look at the math. If I do 4 shows today that are an hour, that's 4 hours, plus it's about a half an hour to get ready beforehand. You're sitting here and then a little bit of time after. So that's really probably close to like 7 hours of non-payable time today. Like that. So my point is
you do it for the passion. You don't
do it for the passion of it. Like I really love doing it. And I wished that I would have known better back in the TNA days to take more podcasts and be more. Now, I did check you out when people reach out and say, we do my show and they've got 1 subscriber or 0 views on their stuff, then that's hard for me. And I say this because it's with good intention and a pure heart. It's hard for me to justify, like, what do you value your time at? I value my time at a certain chunk of money per hour, or, break down your salary of life. So it's like, do I have the money to give you $150 or $200 today of my time? That's how I have to look at it. So, like, I looked you up. You've got some subscribers. Good for you. You're hustling. Some people are watching your show. That's why I ask you, where's the link? How can I promote your show? Because you want to keep the cycle and the circle going. Don't take a freaking podcast if you're not going to promote it. I fucking hate that shit when people do my show. Thank you. And I appreciate the gift that you just gave me of your time and your money, but then promote it, or what's the point of it all? Like,
well, yeah, promote it. Yeah.
You're putting yourself over. I've talked about my band. I've talked about Patreon. I've talked about shows that I'm on. Like, it keeps me relevant. Dutch Mantel, thank you, bro. Alex Shelley, the same thing, talks horrible shit about me. Thank you. You're making me relevant. I don't care if you're not an arrogant asshole, which I'm not anymore. I used to be, but I've reformed. I've changed.
I mean, you mature as you get older. You get wiser.
If you're not an asshole anymore, then I don't really pay attention to the negative nor the positive. That's a Buddhist mentality. I'm Catholic, so I'm not Buddhist, but Buddhist is you don't hear either side. You just stay focused. And when you can master that, then nothing bothers you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you get the hang of it, like it's nothing. But
you're funny. What do you do? What's your shoot job? What else do you do? You're a funny guy.
Oh, what shoot jobs I do? Sometimes I do a mix of entertainment. Like I'll either do some football content. I interview football players. I actually just recently interviewed Matthew Willing, who is an actor but played in the NFL for 14 years. And when I had him on the show the other day, he was just being a smartass, but he was funny. Like that's a good Matt Willing.
Willing, okay.
The one that played Andre the Giant from the Young Rock show, played on My Name's Earl with what's his name, Wally Pansy, and then he played on We're the Millers, where he's the one-eye guy or whatever.
Oh, look him up.
No, he was like on one of my other channels, but I have this one as mostly a wrestling channel and different stuff. But actually, my recent guest that I had in wrestling was one of the Usos, like Zilla Fatu. He's an up-and-coming guy.
Okay.
That one got me some good amount of viewers out of that one. But I'm supposed to get supposed to get Jock Russo. Jock Russo's another guy I'll probably get on the following week. And then Missy Hyatt would probably be on the appearance pretty soon. But I've been trying to get a lot of guests here and there. And everybody's been asking me like, oh, when you're going to start getting some wrestlers on again? I'm like, dude, I've been super busy. I got to get back on it. But things start to kick in. So
I like it. No, you're a really good interviewer. You're fun and you've got great energy, asking great questions. I appreciate you.
Yeah, like it's always about getting to know the human being first before you get to know them as athletes or whatever. You want to give them the comfortable questions and then get to the nitty gritty of what they used to do. Like in the ring or any other stuff, like on the field. That's how we kick it in. But you've done pretty well. I mean, you do band. I mean, you have a band, so. I mean, you got something going on, and you do tours. You were on TV shows. So, I mean, the name Goldy Locks is still relevant to this day for you. I mean, it's got to be something to look like. If you look back, you can say, hey, I had a pretty good career.
Not had. I still have.
You still have, but still, like if you look at the TNA stint, at least you were part of that foundation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and despite what Dutch thinks of you, like, come on, you got into the business because they gave you an opportunity. Like,
absolutely.
They weren't handing it to you. You just got it.
No, it's all good. I got no
beef. It's talent. It's all about having skills.
Got no beef with Dutch. I wish him all the best. I think he's really talented. And he's got a great brand and he's kicking ass. And like I said, open invitation, Dutch. You're always welcome to come on my show. Love to chat with you. Love to hear about all the things I could have done better in your opinion. It's learning experience. You learn from everything. Like it was 20 years ago. So I've kind of moved on.
Yeah. And I guess, like you said, Shelley, I guess now he's the top champion in TNA now.
Good for him. Yeah. I saw him at Slammiversary or when we did it and put out my hand to try to shake his hand. He just didn't want anything to do with me. That's okay. I didn't take it personally. It's 20 years. If you're holding on to like something that happened 20 years ago, then that's on you. Like I
Uh,
20 minutes pass and I've forgotten about shit. I can't even remember words that I need to say during our podcast.
wow. So like that long time ago, and I guess so I didn't know you had something like a beef with Shally.
I don't have a beef with him. He just
Well, you
doesn't
never
like
had a
me.
beef, but he did, right?
Yeah, he doesn't like me. That's cool. Everybody else did. I got a lot of friends. I'm thrilled. I'm happy. Can't win them all.
Yeah, and AJ Styles is like the most successful wrestler. He's still doing it to this day.
He's a great guy. He's always been a dear friend and a good person to me. So AJ's a good guy.
I always thought Bobby Roode was a good wrestler too.
So is Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's one of my friends.
And James Stewart.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Mickie James, she's just had a really great career. Like as far as like going from WWE.
Again, shut the hell up. Not had, still has.
No, oh, see,
you need to watch your past pretenses, Fred. Kick your ass.
I like that. That's the promo. Like you telling me you put him in my place. That's cool. But yeah, you know, for all that, you know, I thank you for all the memories. You know, watching TNA, I wanted to see what the product was all about, but all I saw in the beginning was you were the interviewer. And I seen a lot of funny segments. Yep. Russo, I think Russo had some creative towards you, right?
Oh, yeah, tons. Yeah.
Tons of creative. But so that Tony Schiavone, you didn't even expect it, right? It was just unexpected.
No, I never knew what was going on. I never knew what was going on. That's what I'm saying. I did a way better job than people give me credit for because I never knew what was going on. I just showed up and went with it.
I think out of Tony Schiavone's career, I think that was one of his best promos, if I'm being honest. Like
pretty good.
When he took shots right towards you, like, wow.
Yeah, I was happy to be a part of it. If it made people forget about their problems and their families and at work and medical conditions and things, and they were entertained for that hour, then my job is done. Then I'm happy with that. That's what we're supposed to do. We sign up to be entertainers.
We make people feel better. Yes.
Yeah, we're entertainers. That's what we do.
We're entertainers at the end of the day. And yeah, you know, I just do a lot of different stuff. Like when I get through a hard time for me as a content creator, I just do podcasts, do interviews, and it gets me away from all the issues sometimes. And in a good way, you know, like when you go through some tragedy with families, sometimes podcasts can get you to vent with other people and talk with other people and actually.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I started gaining a lot of the skills of getting athletes and getting a lot of people. It's because I know how to relate to those people and I know how to, you know, just how to talk as a human being with them. And they're starting to get it. So it's like, I feel like I can relate to them because, you know, we all go through the same path. I wasn't like in their level, but at least I know what it was like to be like in the bottom, you know?
Yep.
But hey, for you, I got to say, Still is. I can't say has because you're putting me in my place, and I think that was your best promo. You were putting me on my place. I just
please feel free to use that as sound clip, whatever you want.
Yeah, I might just so I can put like a savage promo and say shut up. But thank you for your time. And
absolutely, I really appreciate you having me on, and I will say that we've got a new song that is coming out and a new video. There will be a contest involved with this that I think there's going to be some pretty fat cash prizes and things that you can win when that is out and in effect. I would greatly appreciate the opportunity to come back on, even as just a few minutes as a bumper before one of your other pods or a trailer or something, just to say, this is what we're doing. I would love to come on and promo that because I think that your followers and your patrons would appreciate winning some money. There you go.
They would, and you do music, so that's another good skill there too. So I got to catch on to your music, because I didn't know you did such a music before.
It's all across the board. It's either rock or pop, but somewhere in between.
Rock or pop. I do like rock music in some ways, because of the gym and the motivation, all that stuff, and the firing energy. That could be something. But yeah, definitely, maybe down the road. If you got extra time, whenever you got, I'm not gonna. Near future, so we'll probably do that. Yeah,
I would love it. Well, tell me when it's time to give me the link for this, and I'll promote the heck out of it. And I really appreciate you.
Oh, anytime. And for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. This is CG and Goldy Locks. She's still relevant. I'm just saying. 20 years, I still remember, but she still
will never forget that shit.
and it's one of the coolest names, I gotta say.
Hey, have a great rest of your day. Great weekend to everybody out there who's watching this whenever you do. And just remember, stay safe out there, but be free and stay golden. Thanks, everybody.